wash yourself with sand. You have to purify yourself, but you don't necessarily. They wash their feet off before they go into the mosque. That's it. There's no immersion rules and things like that. But you know, in the Jewish temple, to go up on a Temple Mount, maybe you don't realize it. What did you have? Bathing pools. You had to bathe yourself before you went onto the Temple Mount, whoever you were. You had to immerse yourself. These are ritual immersion pools, and they've been dug up. They're there. That is in the Talmud and so on. Okay. Anyway, any of these who betrayed the fountain of living waters, I love that, I have a whole chapter on it, will not be reckoned in the foundation of the people or inscribed, if you like, whatever this means, from the day of the gathering of the teacher of the community. And now we're only in manuscript B. Manuscript A has stopped. But you see, manuscript B picks right up from here. There is no more manuscript A. We're in column, I think we're in column 20 here. Manuscript A might have stopped a while earlier, or maybe in sometime in I don't know exactly where. I have to check my Hebrew materials, but I have it in the Hebrew versions where manuscript A and D overlap and end. But this is now column 20. From the gathering of the teacher until the standing up of the Messiah of Aaron and from Israel. And this is definitely singular, as I say. It's standing up, a rising of the Messiah of Aaron and Israel. It's a singular person who is supposed to rise. Is he being resurrected or is he coming? I think he's being resurrected, frankly. The teacher is going to be dying, the righteous teacher of the community. I don't have all the ideology because this group was probably all wiped out, eliminated, killed, destroyed. Let's see if we can finish this up. This is the end. And this is the judgment upon any member of the assembly of perfect holiness. Another name for the community. Assembly can be church. And Paul uses the term, as I said, perfection of holiness in 1 Corinthians 7:1. Who hesitate to do, but notice the Jamesian emphasis, doing, the commands of the upright or the straight. What about this man who doesn't do these things? He will be like a man melted in a furnace. And they shall be thrown into a furnace of fire. You have in the New Testament the chaff and the wheat, and the chaff will be thrown into a furnace of fire. There's a similar image. Not as, maybe as vivid as the New Testament. He is a man who is melted in the furnace. According to the appearance of his works, he should be expelled from the community. There it is, expulsion. Josephus says the Essenes expelled people. Cast out. And that's really important in the Greek, cast out. Like someone, that's another word here for them, the assembly of the men of perfect holiness. That's one name for them. They never call themselves Essenes. And here's another name. Like someone whose lot had never fallen in among the disciples of God. Second name, the disciples of God. According to his rebelliousness, the men of knowledge will punish him until the day he returns so he can come back if he is just a minor sin. To stand in the presence, again the standing imagery, of the men of perfect holiness. Who are the men of perfect holiness? I think these Nazarites. These men who have perfected holiness absolutely around the wilderness. I'm sure they're not copulating. I'm sure they're not nibbling young boys' sexual parts in pools. I'm sure they're following absolute purity regulations in the wilderness, like John the Baptist is thought of in Christianity. That's the man who can do it. I don't see any difference between this group and a John the Baptist group, except in the ethos. And nor shall you cooperate with him in purse and work. And this is not works like righteous works. This is avodah in Hebrew, meaning service, labor, work, mission. And remember in the book of Acts, when they start after the Jerusalem Council, Barnabas and Paul break, and they will not work with Paul anymore, and Paul won't work with John Mark, and he starts taking Greeks to work with. Someone called Timothy or Titus, and some other people like that. And I think the shunning of Paul has begun in Acts at that point. But we don't have Acts from the perspective of these people. Definitely the people in Galatians shunned Paul after Galatians 2. Barnabas and Peter draw away from him. And you shun people, you see. And I'm sure, so this is, I don't say this is Paul, but that's the only parallel I have. I have no other parallel to this material. Otherwise, it's unknown people. You shall not cooperate with him in purse and mission or work, for all the holy ones of the Most High have cursed him. And now in the Jewish Christian Ebionite text, someone wants to do a Jewish Christianity paper, Paul is the enemy. And he is the enemy of God. That's how he's seen. I'm not to hate to use Paul all the time, but this is the big guy. This is the big guy. This is the new preacher. This is the guy who's writing a whole new religious approach. Okay. Am I getting through to you? All the holy, you read this, I read it out loud, you won't forget it. All the holy ones of the Most High have cursed him. And this is the judgment too, which will be upon those who reject, meaning the Torah, among the first and the last, and put idols on their heart, and walked in stubbornness of their heart. They shall have no share in, guess what? The house of the Torah, third name for this group. Is this a Torah enthusiastic group? Take it to the rabbis, show them what's in the text, take it to the Rabbah. I don't think they read this stuff either. You know, they don't read it. This, I think, young Jewish people, this is very exciting for young Jewish people. And they don't teach any of this. And they just teach tired stuff, and so people fade away because it's boring and tired in the end. You teach this material and show them this, it's electrifying. What can you do with the world as it is? They shall be judged according to the judgment on their companions. You see, they shall have no share in the house of Torah. We know what this group is now. There's no way that this group is anything but a house of Torah, right? And it's a tough, apocalyptic, messianic, militant house. They shall be judged according to the judgment on their companions who turned aside with the man of scoffing. This man of scoffing appears in other documents, and he's like the man of lying, and he's probably a synonym for him. So some people turned aside. That's my view. Paul was in the community, was expelled because of his ideas about the things that we know he thinks. And this is the more Jamesian group that actually will have nothing to do with him, and the people who go with him, they turned aside with the man of scoffing because they spoke mistakenly about the laws of righteousness, the Mosaic laws. I don't follow them as the laws of righteousness, but they did, and rejected the covenant